I've been using Notion for more than 5 years. I started out with a very simple dashboard where aesthetics were 100% more important than function. Then I got lost in the magic of databases, and it took me a while to get out of that funk. Now I feel like after 5 years of testing and tweaking, I have finally found the perfect Notion setup. Hi, my name is Ro. I'm a project manager, content creator, and healthy productivity fanatic. And in today's video, I would like to give you a tour of my Notion 2024 setup. I'll walk you through all of the different dashboards, all of the different databases that I have, and I'll talk you through the philosophy of how I set up my Notion so that you can take away from this and building your own Notion setup. However, if you don't want to do that, I do sell all of my Notion templates. The link is in the description box down below, so feel free to check out my Notion shop. And I actually have made one of the dashboards that I'm showing in today's video completely for free. So if you're not really sure yet if you like my way of using Notion, you can just grab it for free and test it out. And if you like what you see, you can actually go and buy the full setup. So you'll just have my entire Notion setup right away. Without further ado, let's just dive right into it, and I'll walk you through my entire Notion setup for 2024. And also at the end of the video, I'll walk you through how Notion Calendar actually fits into all of this. So make sure to stick around for that part of the video because it's definitely not something you want to miss. Welcome to my home dashboard in Notion. This is the page where I start every single day. This is where I mainly navigate through all of the other parts of my Notion. The whole goal of this main home dashboard is to have all of the things that I use on a daily basis at the tip of my fingers without making things too cluttered, and also allowing me quick access to all the things that matter. Something that you'll actually see throughout my Notion setup, and that is very important to cover as a foundation of how I use my Notion, is life areas. You'll see it over here, but you'll also see it when I walk you through the rest of my dashboards, is that life areas is basically the main containers that I split my life into, and I'll use that as a themes or buckets that I sort everything I do in my Notion into. So we have my career, which is basically my project management job. We have my content creation, which is anything that has to do with this YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel, my live streams, my TikToks, any of my other social media accounts. My finances, which is my personal finances. My finances for my business actually fall into the content creation one. I'll get to that in a little bit. My experiences in my life, so basically anything I do to become a more experienced and richer person. Then my wellness, which has very much to do with my mental and my physical health. And then my relationships, which has to do with my actual relationship with my partner, but also my friends and family. On every page, you'll actually see this navigation block. So I'll walk you through what it means on the homepage, but you can actually see this come back in every single of my pages. I have some quick actions, which allows me to quickly capture a new content idea. I tend to think of new video ideas at the most random moments throughout my life. So I figured, why not make a quick button so that I can just log it straight away and it will end up in the right place in my Notion setup. I have one for a new resource. Whenever I'm browsing the web, or I'm just basically reading a book, or I hear someone say something, I can just quickly log a new resource for me to look into or to actually read through or watch or anything. I have a new task, again, quick capture of just adding something to my to-do list database, and a new note will add to my note database. So these are just some things that will quickly allow me to add things in the right place in my Notion without having to go through the hassle of navigating to the right dashboard and then remembering where to put it in my database, and actually doing it on my phone is also not the most comfortable because Notion on phone is not perfect. So by using buttons like this, it still allows me to capture whatever comes up on the go without having to navigate through my entire Notion setup. So this is one of my main upgrades compared to my previous Notion setup from 2023, is that I now have these quick capture buttons. Then, like I already walked you through, we have the life areas, which allows me to quickly navigate through all of the dashboards that I have in my Notion setup. I'm going to walk you through every single one of these today. Then below that, we have what I call the foundations of my Notion setup, which basically contains all the core databases that you'll continuously see through my entire Notion setup. So we have my resources, which is basically any resource. It can be a book, it can be a video, it can be an article, any resource that lives outside of my Notion database and it's captured in a database here. Then I have my notes, which some people would say that notes are resources, but I kind of see them as two separate things, because notes are my interpretation of the resource, or notes are my interpretation of a certain event, whereas resources are the external factor. So whenever I'm following a course, the course is the resource and my interpretation are my notes. I actually have these databases linked, so whenever I take notes on a specific resource, I can make sure that they're linked up together. Then I have my goals and my milestones, which if you want an in-depth video on how my goals and my milestones work and how these databases databases are set up, I'll make sure to link a video in the cards in the description box down below, because I do have a full separate video on my philosophy of goal setting, so I won't dive into that too much in this video, but I do have it, so if you're interested, feel free to check it out. I go over all of the goals that I have for my 2024 year as well, so if you're a person who likes goal setting, that might serve as an inspiration to you. Then I have my projects and my tasks, which are very much related to my day-to-day work. I also talk about those in my goals and milestones video to kind of explain how they are related from like translating goals into actual actions. But these two are also databases that fuel so many of my dashboards and fuel so many of the work that I do in Notion. So you'll see those pop up in all the different dashboards that we're going to walk through today. And then I have my content database, which is basically my master database of any content relation activity I do. It first lived within my content creation space, but then I realized that I actually use this database in multiple places, and I feel like for the consistency of it, I added it to my core databases, because any database you see here fuels something in like multiple places in my Notion, and that's why I have them on my home dashboard, because it makes sense for that to be the center of attention, and from there to kind of show like different views of these databases. Then below that, I have my miscellaneous, which contains a couple of pinned pages. These are pages that live outside of this specific Notion setup. So for instance, my website and my Notion templates, but I do want to be able to quickly access them from my Notion dashboard. So that's why they're pinned over here. And then I also have other, which contains my archive, which is basically just a page containing all the pages that I never use anymore, but I also don't want to throw them away. And then I have my mobile dashboards, which is a specific setup that I use on my mobile phone. So I'll make sure to walk you through what that looks like later in the video as well. Then we've covered everything on the left side of the dashboard. Let's actually move on to the main sections. As you can see, I have a couple of expandable sections. That was my main goal with this dashboard, is I wanted to make sure that I have function, but also aesthetics in mind. I wanted to make sure that things didn't look too cluttered, because then I would probably not use it and I wouldn't enjoy using it, which to me, as a person with one, a short attention span, and two, ADHD that needs to be fed a lot of dopamine to use something, I need it to look good for my brain to be enthusiastic about using it. So that's why I decided to kind of find a balance between function and aesthetics. My main thing is the today view, which is basically a view of different databases. So again, like I said, those foundation databases or those core databases fuel so much in the rest of my Notion setup. But this is actually a overview of multiple databases of everything that is going to happen today. So it starts with my task database, and then you can actually see a little Kanban board of all the things that I need to do today. And this is what I use most in my Notion. I will be managing my tasks on a almost like hour-to-hour basis during my workday. I move all of the things. As you can see, recording the Notion tour is currently in progress because we're literally doing that right now. I can also quickly have a glance on what content is airing today. So I have a Twitch stream tonight, so that is actually linked up here as well. This comes from my content master database, and this allows me to quickly see if I have any videos going live today, if I had anything scheduled, and make sure that the status of that is actually on scheduled and it will be going live on the right time. Then I have some events. I currently don't have an event going on today, so this will be empty, but whenever I am going to a big event, or for the past months, I've been participating in a big competition, then that was linked here, and it allows me easy access to any ongoing events in my life. The same goes for trips. So whenever I'm on a trip, I usually have all of the information that I need for that trip stored in my Notion, but through my today view, I'll be able to quickly access that trip without having to navigate through another dashboard to find the trip that is currently ongoing. So anything happening today will show up here. The same for live music. If I have a concert planned or anything, usually I have my tickets linked here. It will show up in my today view. And then I have my overdue view, which is literally just the same view as the task view, but it will just show anything with a due date that is passed. Yesterday, I actually didn't do my journaling, so I want to kind of like catch up on that today. So what I then usually do is I go in here and I make sure to change the date to today, so it will actually show up on my tasks for today. That's my today view. So basically this allows me to manage the right here and right now. I also use my this week view a lot, even though it's not just this week. It basically allows me to just look at a week view of my task calendar. So this is very specific for my tasks. and my content. So here I can see all of the content that is going to air this week, and I can make sure that like I can just have a quick glance of have I done all the things that I need to do, what kind of streams are coming up, what kind of things are going to happen in my life. So this is an overview one, but the tasks one I usually use to schedule my tasks as well. So every Sunday I do a Sunday review or like a weekly reset or whatever you would like to call it. I actually have a whole video on what I do during my weekly reviews as well. So if you want to check it out, I'll again link it up in the card and in the description box down below. But that's where I schedule my week ahead. And as you can see, this week is quite full because I've scheduled it and I'm like currently in this week. If you look ahead at next week, it's completely empty unless there is like specific tasks that I already schedule even further ahead. So there are certain things where I do schedule ahead, but mostly it's like a week ahead. On my Sunday reset or on my Sunday review, I actually sit down. I have this little open thingy, like I can toggle it open so it doesn't clutter my weekly overview at all times. But once I open it, I can actually schedule recurring tasks. Once I click this, it will automatically make all of the recurring tasks that I have and I can drag them to the right day. I'm not going to show you this right now because what happens when I click this is it actually makes all of the tasks. But you can see that in my Sunday review. I believe I show it there. If I don't, feel free to let me know in the comments if you would like to see how the specific button works, because I could make a YouTube short about this and then kind of like explain that part to you. But that allows me to quickly prep my week also on my main dashboard. And then I have incoming, which is basically my backlog. And here is where you start to see those life areas come in a lot. I have a backlog for anything I want to do for my career, which is currently not much because I've been working on the same project for a long time and we just finished a big deadline. So this backlog was really crowded, but now it's kind of empty. Then I have my content creation. As you can see, I have a lot of ideas that I would like to do at some point. Like there are a lot of things that I would like to work on for my content creation, but they don't specifically have a due date, as in a date that I'm gonna do it. Some of them actually have a deadline. When the deadline is approaching, it will actually show up here, which means that I have to schedule it. I have it set so that if the deadline is between now and a month, it will show up in deadline approaching, which means that if there is anything in my backlog that does have a date where it needs to be finished, it will show up here. And whenever I do my weekly review, I'll also review my backlog of all of my life areas and I'll think about all the things that I need to pick up and I need to schedule time for. And because it's a month in advance, I'll almost always have the time to actually schedule it and pick it up. If there is anything where I really worry about the fact that I need more time than a month to do that, those are usually such big things or like such big happenings in my life that they are literally living on top of my mind and I won't forget them. So this is more or less for all the small things when someone says, oh, you know what would be cute? You could have maybe like new banner on YouTube, and I'd be like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll add it here. I usually put it in through the new tasks and then I add it to the right life area and I'll add it into my backlog because I log it as an incoming task. And then I can think about it whenever I have the time to work on some things. So that's basically how my incoming system works. Then below that, we have my projects and my goals. I want to make sure to have my goals sitting on my home dashboard so I don't forget them. Here I can actually select the different life areas. So if I go to content, it will actually showcase my content goals. Once in a while, I'll just randomly put it on another one. I'll just put it on experiences for like a week or two. And that just reminds me of the goals that I've set for that specific life area. Then I have my projects, which are basically collections of bigger tasks. So for instance, I'm going to be hosting a big charity event again this year. It will happen in November, so it's quite far away. But I've already been doing like certain little things. And whenever the event is going to come closer, I need to do more and more preparation. It's basically something that I'll work on for a whole year. And that's why I make it into a project, because then I can link all of the tasks to this project and it will all be like in a center place. I can save all the files here. So it allows me to kind of bundle everything that is related to the same topic. This is the project that I'm doing for work. I'm going to remodel the studio that we're currently in. So that is a project because I needed to find a carpenter. Like all of these examples, basically when there's a collection of tasks that will run over a longer period of time, I'll just add it to projects and it allows me a quick access to all of that together. Then, like I said, I also have my resources over here. So this again is sorted by life areas. So if you're ever wondering why you're not seeing certain resources if you're using my setup, then this is why, because they're all sorted into the life areas. And here you can see all the things that I still need to do something with. So either I want to review them, I want to read them, I want to like watch it, I want to take the course. Some things that are in progress. So these are all things that I'm currently using or currently working on. And then all the things that are actually completed that I no longer actively use. So this is basically my archive of resources. Then I also have my notes, which again are sorted into the life areas. And these will showcase the notes that I made in the past 3 months. So any older notes will just be in my notes database. I can find them if I need them, but these are just the most important things, because usually when I write something down and I don't do something with it for at least 3 months, that is usually because I don't need it anymore. That's because I want to have it written down somewhere so that I can find it again, but it's not like an active something that I need to continuously review. And also, if I do review it and I edit something, then the date, like the last edited date, will update again, and it will stay on top of the list because I've edited it recently. So it basically makes sure that my dashboard doesn't get too cluttered with like a long list of notes, while still making sure that in my database itself, everything is actually sorted. So I do use a lot of filters and sorting functions in Notion to make sure that things don't get too cluttered, even though my databases on the back are very big. That basically covers my entire home dashboard. So now it is time to start looking at all the separate dashboards. We're going to start with my career, which is a very simple one because it's very, very similar to my home dashboard. Again, we have the navigation bar on the side. Like I said, I don't have the core foundation databases in here. Again, it is just the navigation bar that I have on every page, because the rest I'll just access from my home dashboard. Below this, I have like a quick little Pomo timer thingy, which whenever I need to do focus work at work, I can use this. I mostly use it when I'm in the office, because when I'm at home, I am actually doing a lot of co-working streaming. So if you're ever in need of a digital coworker, feel free to hop onto my Twitch channel. It is linked in the description box down below. I host co-working streams 3 times a week. So if that's your cup of tea, feel free to join. But this is mostly for when I'm in the office and I need some focus time. And then, like you can see, the setup is very similar. This is my to-do, but specifically filtered for anything that has to do with my day job. Today, I'm working for my content creation. So as you can see, I have 0 tasks that are scheduled for my corporate job, because those are all scheduled either yesterday or tomorrow, because then I'm working for my corporate job again. I actually also have the week overview, but again, it is filtered to anything that I have to do for my corporate job. So I can quickly see if I've scheduled all of the things that I need to do for all of my project management work. Then I have my goals, but those are sorted so that I can only see my career goals, my career projects, my career notes, and my career resources. So this is very much, again, it's a similar setup as my home dashboard, but if I am at work and I only want to see the things that are relevant for my project management work, I go to this dashboard and I don't see anything else. It is clear of distractions. It doesn't like tempt me to also work on some content stuff. It doesn't tempt me to work on some journaling. It just makes me focus on the career stuff, but the setup is very similar because these are all the core databases that I use in my Notion. Then next up, we have my content creation, which is similar, but a little bit different, if that makes any sense, because there's a lot more going on here because I simply do more in my Notion for my content. So when you get to this page on the left-hand side, again, we have the navigation bar, so similar to any page we've seen before. And then below that, I actually have an extra block, which is called content admin, which basically contains all of the admin stuff for my business. It has a page for my stream stats, which is where I keep track of how my streams are performing. Then I have my business finance, so it contains everything related to my business finance. If you're ever interested to know how much I make in a year as a content creator, I actually have a video on that too, so feel free to check it out. Again, I'll link it up in the card and in the description box down below. But it contains a full setup of what my income streams are, what my expenses are, and how much I actually make as a part-time content creator. So feel free to check that out. Then I have a database for all of my sponsors where I log all of my contracts and all of the information that is important. Then I have a Pack Legacy dashboard, which the Pack Legacy challenge is a challenge that I'm playing over on my Sims YouTube channel. And this is the dashboard that I use to work with my editor. And I have a quick note that links to a specific note in my notes database because I need quick access to this because it is part of my streams. Without going into too much detail, this is one of those things that I need to refer to on a stream quite often. So I made sure to just link it here so I can easily find it. Then I also have my schedule, which is something that I just wrote down at one point to kind of help myself remember what I want to do at which day. And I have some boiler days scheduled for 2024, which are days where I'm actually going to record a bunch of TikToks and stuff like that. So this is like a temporary block. This will probably go away at the end of 2024, but it's just nice to have it right at my fingertips so I can quickly check when I scheduled some things. And And then we move on to the middle section of my content dashboard, which actually the main section is creating content. It is actually a toggle again, so I don't, because this list can get quite long, so I want to make sure to kind of be able to hide it so my page doesn't get ridiculously long. But this actually shows the things that I need to work on for the coming 2 weeks and for the coming month. And you'll see in the coming month here, you can see it's like a little bit longer, but sometimes this list gets really, really long, and I want to make sure that it doesn't, like, I can toggle it on and off basically. As you can see, the Notion 2024 tour is currently on recording because that's what I'm doing right now, but I can very quickly see all the things that I need to work on, and I can see if the things that are like upcoming in the 2 weeks, if they're scheduled, all of those things. So this is basically my working backlog specifically for videos. So it's differently than my task database because this is actually fueled by my content database, which is where I schedule all of my streams, all of my YouTube videos, basically anything that I make on the internet. And it will show up here. This is my working version of that dashboard. Then below that, we have my content goals, my content projects, my content notes, and my content resources. Surprise, surprise, it's the same as any other dashboard because that's what I chose for the setup of my 2024 dashboards. And then below we have a toggle again, which is called planning content. And this is also where I spend quite a lot of my time. We have different tabs. We have my full content planning. We have my Twitch streams, my long form and short form, and planning, which is one that I should actually get rid of because I used it for a test. But then we have my Twitch streams, which is basically the calendar of all of my Twitch streams and what I'll be doing on those streams. I'll have long form and short form, which is all of my TikToks, YouTube shorts, and actual YouTube videos. Again, you can see that Notion tour over here, and you can see that it's currently recording. So this is the same card as that you could see at the top of the dashboard in like this overview. So again, same database, but it's fueling different views throughout my Notion, which makes that everything is logged in just one place, in one core place. But I make sure to use filters and setups and different views to show the information that I need to work on a specific topic at that time. If you look at my full content planning, actually the dashboard becomes a little bit messier. I do have something that I think is quite smart whenever I am done with something. So yesterday, the co-working stream, it actually happened. I have a quick button on this little calendar view where I can just click done and it will change the status to done. So that means that I can quickly tick off the things that are done without having to actually open a card, which makes it really easy for me to kind of like get my, or like manage my workflow. And whenever something's done, and you might think, but can you not just mark it to done when you're actually done with the work? But the thing is, with a lot of YouTube videos, I'll record it, I'll edit it, and then I'll schedule it on YouTube for like 2 weeks in advance. So it will be scheduled for like next week or 2 weeks in the future. And then when it's actually aired, I need to remember to actually tick it off and like, okay, it aired, it is now officially done. So that's why I made the quick done button, and it just allows me to keep like my database clean and neat and organized. I also have an overview of unscheduled content, which is actually separated by my different channels. So I have extra TXT long form, so that's a video like this, extra TXT short form, which is all of my TikToks, YouTube shorts, etc. Rosannatxt long form, which is my Sims YouTube channel, and then Rosannatxt short form, which is my Sims TikTok and like my Sims YouTube shorts. And from here, I can just get something and I can drag it onto the calendar to the right day where I actually want to have it aired, and then it'll automatically like populate my workflow that is at the top of this page. So that's how I plan and manage all my content. I usually schedule quite far ahead. So my entire month of April, for instance, is already scheduled. All of my streams are scheduled. All of my videos that I want to make are scheduled, because that allows me at the top of the page to like look a month ahead and see, oh, what are the things that I need to make? Because this also allows me to sometimes, when I have a bit more extra time, to like work ahead. And then when I have a little less time, for instance, because I have other appointments when I'm working on my content days, I don't have to worry about getting content out and like constantly working towards deadlines. But I can make sure to give myself that breathing room by looking a month ahead and just sometimes recording a little bit early, if that makes any sense. Then next up, we have my finance dashboard, which is a very simple dashboard to just track my income and my expenses. If you're, again, ever interested in my income and how my expenses work, feel free to check out that video about my finances. My business finance actually uses a very similar setup as this, and I do also sell this as a separate template if you want to have a very simple income and expense tracker. But basically what it does, it tallies up my income, which I add per month. It tallies up my expenses, which I add per month. And then it has a total balance overview of basically like what I earned in a year and what I expensed in a year. Since I have all of my recurring expenses, like my rent and stuff, already filled in for all of the months, it now looks like I spent a ridiculous amount of money just at the beginning of the year. But this is mainly to see at the end of the year whether I spent more money than I gained, to kind of get a better grip on my finances. Because if this is in the plus, it means that I'm saving my money. And if this is in the minus, it means that I'm spending more than I earn, which means that I'm digging into my savings, which is not a bad thing, by the way. It is okay if I dig into my savings, but then at least I want to know and like be able to track what I spend my money on and if that's the thing that I want to be investing on in this point in my life. So that's why I started tracking my finances. As you can see, my starting balance for the year is actually empty because I only started doing this year. So hopefully next year I'll be able to make like a better explanation of my actual finances and my actual financial situation. But you need to start somewhere, right? So this is also a really good example of it doesn't have to be perfect to start working for you. Then next up, we have my experience dashboard, which is one that I'm not going to go into with too much detail because I actually have a full separate video about my experience dashboard, which actually is about the 2024 version of this as well. I'll make sure to link it up in the cards and the description box down below. But as you can see, layout wise, it is very similar. We have the navigation bar, my goals, but then there is a part about my upcoming trips, my upcoming experiences, basically. So again, multiple databases and my bucket listed experiences. And I have a whole section where I talk about like my crafts, my library, my watch list. But again, I'm not going to go too much into detail of this one because I have that whole separate video, and there is so much living and happening in this section of my Notion that I felt like it wouldn't really fit in a 2024 tour because then it wouldn't do it justice. So I decided to just make a completely separate video out of it. But I think it is very important to log your experiences with the same precision and same attention as you log your tasks and your productivity, because living your life and having true experiences is just as important as being productive. And I think this is where my term like healthy productivity also comes from. This is the healthy part. Living your life, not always striving to be more efficient, more productive, having a higher output. It is also very important to just experience stuff in the world because we live in such a beautiful world, and I cannot emphasize this enough because it is so important. So feel free to watch that video if you want to know how I track all of that. I'm very proud of this page. It is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad that I made a dashboard for it and it's living in my Notion. But from that, we're going to move on to wellness, which is another thing that is very, very, very important to me because I have been struggling with mental health for like a long period of time in my life. And recently, I've actually also struggled with my physical health for a really long period of time in my life. And I wanted to make sure to start tracking that a little bit better, understanding my body, understanding my brain, to make sure that I can take care of it in the proper way. So that's what I do here. Again, on the wellness dashboard, we have the navigation bar on the side. We have my goals specifically to my wellness section in my Notion. And then I have my journal, which I try to journal daily. I don't always manage to do that, but I have it separated by months again. So you can see I've been journaling in March as well. This is actually the daily journal part is the free template for this video. So if you're interested in also starting your journaling journey, that's hard to say, feel free to go check out my Notion shop. It's linked down below. I've made a free version of the wellness dashboard that is not like, it doesn't contain the navigation bar and stuff because it's not linked to the rest of the Notion setup. But if you want to start with journaling, because I think it is such an important thing to take care of your physical and mental well-being, I made it free. So feel free to pick it up and test it out if you like it. It does come with the quick buttons to add your journal pages, which immediately allows you a visual overview, because by clicking that it's a good day, you'll automatically get the right banner and stuff, and that will allow you to quickly like visually track how you are doing over a period of time. Then I also have my weekly review, which is basically where I like link all of my journal pages to a specific week, and then I at the end of the week during my Sunday review kind of do like a journal review where I talk about all of the things that I've done that week and like what my highlights were, what my sources of stress were, because it helps me to kind of reflect on my week and think about how I'm doing. Something else that will be included in the wellness template is actually a routines page. This is what I use. It is very simple, but it allows me to kind of set my desired or standard routine that I have in a week. And another page that will be included in there is the gratitude journal, which for you will probably be empty because, well, this is all of my things, but it does have the little template of the little sticky note, the digital sticky note. And this is just a little wall where I just make sticky notes of things that I'm really happy with and that, you know, made me really proud or make me really happy in my life. I definitely need to update this because this one is months ago. I haven't been really good at keeping up with my gratitude journal, but the good thing is I can also just look at this after a couple of months and like add the things that I still remember, because there is all of the highlights go in here. And then whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll just scroll through this and I'll remember all of the cool things that I've been doing. So this is my wellness dashboard. And again, it is completely free for you to pick up. If you have any feedback for it, feel free to drop in the comments down below, because I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Yeah, enjoy using it. And if you're getting my entire Notion 2024 setup, this will all be included as well, but it will actually be linked up with the navigation bar, and it will be part of the full setup. And then lastly, we have my relationships dashboard, which again, we have the navigation bar. It is getting old, but it's everywhere in my Notion. Then we have my goals, which are all the goals that I have for my friendships, my family, and my relationship for this year. Then I have my projects, which I currently don't have any specific projects related to my relationships, but I could have throughout the year. I've been keeping track of how many dates I've done with my partner because I like it. I like going on dates, so it's important to kind of remember how many things we've done. And then I have a separated bucket list for things that I want to do with my partner, or the things that we've already done with my partner in this year. The thing with this is I kind of eventually want to integrate it with my experience dashboard and like log it as an actual experience, because going to a museum could also be an experience, but because I'm doing it with my partner, it is currently living over here. So I need to merge those two together, but I haven't really had the time to do that yet. And then, like I promised, I would also show you how Notion Calendar fit into all of this, because if you have watched my full productivity system video, you know that I'm an avid user of Google Calendar, and now that we have Notion Calendar, the big question is, do I actually use it? I'll also make an in-depth video of my full productivity system as of 2024, because I feel like the one that I'd made in 2023 is kind of outdated right now. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss the video on my full productivity system when it comes out, because it's actually a bit more extensive than what I'm showing in this video. But I have been using Notion Calendar, and there are a lot of things that I'm not entirely happy with yet. Like, there is just small little annoyances that I wish that we could change, but it's a new product and they'll probably continue to build upon this. So I'm hopeful for the future of Notion Calendar. But I did start using it and I actually kind of like it, to be honest. There is a couple of things that I think are really easy. I like the fact that I can still use my Google Calendar, because that's actually things that I was already using. So I literally just had to connect it and all of my appointments were in my Notion Calendar, which made it ridiculously easy to just kind of try it out and make the switch for a little while. I have a couple of databases that are synced to my Notion Calendar. So the first one is my content overview, which is that content master database, so that I can quickly see on my calendar view as well what kind of content I have coming up those days. And again, it is just a sanity check for myself. Am I actually prepared to make that content that day or to release that content that day? So it's nice to have that. I usually have it like turned off. I just check it like once per day. I kind of go here, I quickly click that, and then I see what is going on. And then the one that I do actually use a lot is my tasks overview. I use time blocking. As you can see, if I turn it off in my main Google Calendar, I time block. So I have my top desk time, which is my corporate job. Then I have my YouTube time. I have my stream time. I have like an appointment with a friend. So it's kind of a mix between time blocks and actual appointments. But then I have my tasks and I actually drag everything into my time blocks. The thing I have noticed with this is I know that I've made a video on time blocking. If you're ever interested, feel free to see that. It is up linked in the cards and in the description box down below. That I actually said that you shouldn't schedule all of your separate tasks, which I still stand by, because every single time that I move this, every single time something moves in my day, I notice myself feeling tempted to go back into my calendar and rearrange my tasks, which doesn't make any sense because it literally costs me more time than it is saving. So what I try to kind of see is I use it to see if I'm not overscheduling myself. So I want to make sure that whenever I say that I want to record something, if I'm not planning too many recordings or videos in a single day, because I'll probably not be able to keep up with it, because I noticed that I overscheduled myself a lot. So that's what I'm trying to do now, is I'm trying to like fit it into my day to kind of see if my time block matches with the amount of work I've done. if I actually decided to swap around the recording that I'm doing right now with something in the morning, I shouldn't go back into my calendar and like rearrange my appointments, because then again, I'm losing more time in trying to manage my calendar rather than it's getting me in actually having an overview of my day, so to say. So that's currently how Notion Calendar fits into my Notion system. I am very curious to hear how your Notion Calendar, if you're using it, and also what you would like to see as an improvement to Notion Calendar, because I think there's a lot of potential here, but they also have a lot of things to still work on. So let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And then lastly, something that I would very much like to share with you is my mobile dashboard. This looks so simple. Probably you see this and you're like, wow, that's underwhelming. Why did she save that to the last part of her video? But it's actually specifically made so that certain parts of my Notion dashboard will show up on my phone looking somewhat great, because again, Notion on phone is not ideal. But if you actually go into my today view, my main hacks for this are to not put your settings into using the full width of the page, but just using the middle section and not making multiple columns. Just get everything like underneath each other so that when you're scrolling on your phone, because your phone only allows you to see one column at a time, you don't actually get that your entire layout gets messed up. Also, I've made sure to add everything underneath each other, so separate views of the Today database, instead of trying to do it with the tabs where you can click and like get to another tab, because that doesn't really work on phone. It's a little bit iffy, so just adding it as separate views helped a lot. Another one is my tasks. Again, you'll probably see I just use one column, and then I have my overdue, so it'll show up at the top on my phone, because that's something that I really liked in Todoist, is that your overdue task will like be living at the top of your to-do list, so it's very easy to reschedule them. Then I have my to-do list for today, and then I can also see all of my to-dos for the upcoming week, which allows me to very quickly capture a task in my to-do list on my phone if I wanted to. So this kind of allows me to do the things that I really enjoy Todoist for on my phone while still using Notion. Then I also have my journal. Again, whenever I'm on the go, I still would like to try to keep up with my journal. Sometimes I'm already in bed and then I realize that I haven't journaled for that day. I can quickly add a page by just clicking on one of the buttons, and I can see the pages that I've made in the current month, and that's it. Because any other review I'll do on my PC, but this allows me to just quickly access my journal and adjust some things if I needed to. And then I have my quick actions, which allows me to capture a content idea, a resource, a new note, and a task. I'll show you what this looks like on my phone as well. I'll put a little screenshot on the screen of my home dashboard. So as you can see, I've added it like widgets and cards, so I can quickly click on the thing that I need, and it kind of separates them as almost as if they're separate apps on my phone, but they all eventually lead to my Notion dashboard, which means that I can quickly use my Notion on the go without having to go through the hassle of trying to use my main dashboard. If you get my 2024 Notion setup, it also comes with all of these mobile dashboards so that you can also start using Notion on your phone without the hassle and irritation that Notion dashboards bring on the mobile device. That actually concludes my entire Notion 2024 tour. I would love to hear what inspired you the most from this video, so let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you're just interested in like the productivity side of things and you don't want the wellness and the experience dashboard, I do have a bundle for sale that only contains like the goal setting, projects, and tasks. Basically anything that I explained in the goal setting video, I have it separated as a bundle. So if you just want to be productive with your Notion, feel free to check out that bundle as well. Everything is linked in my shop down below. If you have any questions, feel free to hop into my comments as well. And also, to celebrate the release of my 2024 Notion template, I have made the wellness dashboard completely for free so that you can test it out and see if you like my Notion style. With all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out, or the like button to help this video get to more people. And I appreciate all of you. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.